The compulsory rate of superannuation would be lifted to 15% under a bold proposal by the Victorian government. Let's go live now to Patrick Murrell in Melbourne. Pat, the Victorian Treasurer wants the rate lifted. Now, this is really not something the states have jurisdiction over. So is this just a push to put pressure on the federal government?
It's part of a submission to the Commonwealth's first major review of Australia's retirement savings system in 30 years. The compulsory rate of superannuation at the moment currently sits at 9.5%, increasing to 10% over the next year, and is scheduled to rise again to 12% by 2025. But as part of this review, the Victorian government is making its own submission. Treasurer Tim Pallas writing it should rise to as high as 15%. He's making this submission for a number of reasons. The first, he argues, is to help close the so-called superannuation gender gap, in which women on average retire with $110,000 less in super than men. As part of this, Mr Pallas argues that employers should be allowed to discriminate and pay women a higher rate of super than men they employ. He also wants parents to have their super fees waived while they're accessing the Commonwealth's paid parental leave system. As part of this submission, Mr Pallas is also arguing for the minimum threshold to be paid super to be lowered. He says at the moment the rate of $450 discriminates against carers, casuals and other part-time workers who might hold multiple jobs, each paying less than $450 a month, and so as a result they receive no super. Now, the argument against raising the rate of super is the effect it may have on wages. Of course, with more money going into the super account, there's less going immediately into the pockets of workers. The jury is still out on this one. However, Mr Pallas says there are still plenty of studies that fail to establish a link between the rate of super and take-home wages. Now, this Commonwealth report into the superannuation and retirement savings system is due by the middle of this year, before scheduled super raises in 2021, 22, 3, 4 and 5.
Interesting indeed. We'll see if this gets any traction. Pat, thank you.